Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm Melissa. I am a type 1 diabetic and have been for 27 years, or just about 27 years. And I am currently on a GLP-1, along with I had VSG surgery back in November of 2020, so almost 6 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, so I want to kind of recap week 2 for you guys, and talk about ups and downs, blood sugars obviously, and the big question I'm sure everyone is curious is if I lost any weight. So let's just get into the good stuff first. So weight. I goofed up last week. In the last video, I mentioned that I was down to 315 pounds. What ended up happening was I jumped on the scale. My scale has been giving me not issues, but has been shooting an error message that just says LO on it, which I didn't bother to look into at the time. It's been like that for months. I don't use the scale that often, so I don't ever really think about it. But when I jumped on it last week, it gave me that error message, but then it flashed the number 315 really quickly, and then it went away. So I took that as, oh, I'm 315 pounds. Great, I lost 2 pounds. When in reality, what that error message means is low battery. So for anyone that has a scale and maybe is getting that message, if it says LO on it in big letters, that means you likely have a low battery. So I figured that out with the help of Google. I changed the batteries in the scale, and then I left it alone. I was like, okay, cool, I'll weigh myself at the next weigh-in schedule, which I usually do on Tuesdays in the morning before I take my shot, because I don't know, that seems fair to me. So I jumped on the scale this week and it showed that I was 316.5. So I think my goof was that I took the week prior and saw 315 really quick and was like, oh, I'm 315, and like didn't think anything of it, when in reality that's not how much I weighed. I probably was likely still at the 317 mark. The scale just didn't have enough time to calculate it and do its thing. So this week when I jumped on the scale, I'm 316.5. So my apologies, I made a mistake. I was misinformed and I bladed out a number that I saw for 2 seconds and thought that was, true. So I am down half a pound, which is cool. Again, kind of like I mentioned in the previous videos, I don't really expect to lose a whole lot of weight, especially in this initial period, with just being on the 2.5 milligrams. I might see more weight loss happen as I go up. So I imagine when I go up to 5 milligrams here in a couple weeks, maybe I'll start to see more. Not really sure, but that's kind of where we're at with that. As far as blood sugars though, oh my gosh, so excited. I will pop my overview somewhere on the screen here, but for the last 7 days I have been 69% in range for the whole week. 69% in range. That means anything between, I believe it would be like 75 and 120. Although that might not be accurate because I do get low alerts. I think it's 75. Let's just say 80 to 120. 69% of the time, 80 to 120. I was in that range. I'm looking behind you because I have the picture blown up behind me so I can actually read it. I was 26% high, which means on my Dexcom, that means anything above 120 but under 250. And then 5% of the time, only 5% of the time, I was a very high, which means I was over to that 250 mark. So that is great, fantastic news for me. I honestly could not be happier. I have struggled with my blood sugars, my A1Cs, keeping them in range, attempting to keep them in range for pretty much the entire time that I've been diabetic. I do have very severe insulin resistance that I deal with, and I've been dealing with for a very long time. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I was so excited to go back on a GLP-1, was to get those results that I had seen, that I'd known that I had seen before. I do have a little story time thing that I'm gonna film at some point and throw up for you guys, because yes, I have been on a GLP-1 before. This isn't my first time around, so I'll kind of explain all the details in that at some point when I get to that video. So yeah, overall, great week, great blood sugars. I did do much better. Well, I do think I still struggled with fatigue, but I don't want to blame that all on the medication, because it might have been something hormonally. I did get my period a week earlier than expected, according to my flu app. So that definitely, I know that time of the month for me, I'm always very tired before, during, and sometimes a couple days after. So I think that probably had a big impact on it. It could have been slightly the medication, but still, I have my doubts on that. Also, my shifting blood sugars, my blood sugars are coming down to a normal range, and so that can make me feel tired, fatigued, weird, low when I'm not actually low, if you know what I mean. Because when you've had high blood sugars for so long and you go from like 250, 300 and you're just sitting at like 100, sometimes you feel low even though you're not actually low. You're good, but your body will kind of tell you it's low when it's not, because it's used to being up at a higher range. As far as side effects and stuff go, GI tract wise, still doing good. I did notice I had a little bit more issue with constipation this week, and to me that's kind of my sign that I'm either not getting enough water, not getting enough fiber, probably a combination of both. So I think I'm going to invest in like some sort of fiber supplement just to kind of take on a daily basis, whether probably like fiber gummies or something like that. I'm going shopping later, so we'll kind of see what Walmart has to offer me. I have noticed that I've been able to continue to do more things. So while being fatigued, I still have some energy to get up and do things around the house that I was not able to do before. So for example, doing the dishes, getting up and cooking a full meal, doing laundry, putting away that laundry, because everyone knows it's not just about doing laundry, it's about also putting it away. I've been able to do those things, and that is huge for me. For the last year and a half, I have just not had the stamina to do things around the house, to I mean, even going to the many doctor's appointments that I go to, walking to the car, and it's not that far of a walk, trust me. Walking to the car, I'm out of breath. I'm panting like I just ran a marathon. Walking to the office, into the building of the doctor's office, sometimes I have to stop. A lot of times I would have to stop before we even made it in, and stop several times. I'm noticing that is getting better, and that's really exciting. In fact, today, somehow my fiance has convinced me to go grocery shopping with him, because for the last year and a half, he has done all the grocery shopping by himself. He's convinced me to go with him, so I'm gonna go to Walmart for the first time in probably a year and a half. And I'm going to try and withstand standing up, going grocery shopping without getting one of those mobile buggy things. Because before, when I used to go into the store, I would have to take one of those buggy carts just to be able to get around, because I was not able to walk around to the store. I could not stand up long enough. I couldn't breathe and walk at the same time. So honestly, I'm a little nervous about that, because I haven't been shopping in so long that I don't know how my body is gonna react, but I'm gonna do it, and we're gonna see. And if I need to sit down, I'll sit down, but I'm gonna do my best to try and keep up with it. I'm gonna be smart about it, and I'm gonna do my inhaler, my Trilogy, right before we go, and then I'll bring my little albuterol with me, just in case I need it. So yeah, I would say overall my stamina is increasing, which is fantastic. I've been able to, instead of being in the taking care of role, I've been able to take care of things. Granted, I'm still not doing everything, by no means everything on my own, and there's a lot of things I still struggle with, but I'm doing a lot better, and that's progress for me. The one thing I wanted to talk about a bit and touch on was the kind of the food noise, the hungriness that everyone talks about, and how that kind of goes away on the Zepbound or whatever GLP-1 that you're on, insert here. But honestly, I still struggle with food noise. I still struggle with being hungry. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I will say it's definitely not as loud as it was before being on Zepbound, but I will say that it's still there, and it does take some mental effort for me to ignore that at times, because I'll be hungry when it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I just had dinner, or I just had lunch, or I just had breakfast, or whatever, and then my body's like, you're hungry, you're hungry, you're hungry. And then it's not just like my brain saying that I'm hungry, but I actually feel physically hungry. So I do think that's interesting, because I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, the food noise is gone and I'm just not hungry ever. But for me, so far, I'm still struggling with that. Not as bad, I will give you that, but it's not like it just up and disappeared and I'm like, oh, I'm just never hungry, haha. No, like, I am still hungry, and I do still fight that. I've actually, in my spare time, I've been watching a lot of Obese to Beast. He's a YouTuber, obviously, content creator. I've been watching a lot of his videos, mostly on like the Amber Lynn Reed saga, and a couple other content food creators and things like that. So I've been watching a lot of his videos recently, but one thing that he said in one of his videos, and I can't remember which one it is, but is that it's okay to feel hungry, and that a lot of times, like, people, when they feel hungry, and I'm sorry if I'm misquoting this, so please don't come for me if you're like a fan of his or something, but that it's okay to feel hungry, and a lot of times people like get scared when they're hungry or they feel hungry, but you don't always necessarily need to feel absolutely full, absolutely stuffed. It's okay to feel hungry, and I have kind of put that in the back of my head, and I'm like, you know what, he's right. Like, it is okay for me sometimes to feel hungry and not do anything about it. Now that would be different if I like wasn't eating for an entire day, or like for an entire day I had like a protein shake or something like that. I'm not doing that, trust me. You'll see in the video that I don't know when it comes out, but I do a whole week of eating what I'm eating in a week. But yeah, that was something that kind of really stuck with me, that he said that like it's okay to feel hungry. And I'm like, you know what? It is okay that I feel hungry. Like, I know that I ate food. I know I nourished my body. I know I'm doing all the things I need to be doing. It's okay. And I've been kind of telling myself, girl, just drink some water. Just drink some water if you're feeling hungry. You'll get full that way. And I used to hate that as a kid because, oh Lord, I've been seeing dietitians basically since I got diagnosed with diabetes at age 7. That was set up every 3 months. We would see the endocrinologist, we would see the nurse practitioner, and then after that we would spend an hour to 2 hours with a whole nutritionist dietitian that had the fake food and teaching you how to count carbohydrates and all that. So a lot of that is so ingrained in my brain. But you know, one of those, I don't remember which dietitian it was now, it was so many years ago, but she said, you know, she mentioned, you know, well, if you feel hungry, just drink some water and then you might feel better. That might work. And I remember just being so pissed about that. I'm like, if I'm hungry, what is water gonna do for me? But years later, I've actually been using that trick in recent history, where I have just been like guzzling a bottle of water or drinking some water, and the hunger feeling does go away. So it does actually work. I'm by no means saying, I'm not a dietitian, obviously I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I'm by no means saying that you should starve yourself on only water. Please do not do that. But for me, it has worked for me in the instance where I just ate a meal and it's maybe an hour later and I'm starting to feel hungry, and I'm gonna drink some water just to kind of chill out. So anyways, that's really all I got for you for week 2 review. I'm still gonna continue with the medication, you know, just because I'm not experiencing all the greatness that it has to offer yet doesn't mean it's not working. It's obviously doing something for my blood sugars, and I did lose half a pound, so you know. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to go ahead and like and subscribe and comment and do all the YouTube things. It is my goal to hopefully reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Other than that, I will see you in the next one. Bye!